to include the partial demolition component or to exclude the partial demolition component? That is the question. That's the question that I come up against literally every single week when I'm drafting an application. And I came across a particularly good example of this earlier this week. So I thought, hey, why don't we talk about this example in this week's video? So imagine this scenario. You've got a pre-1947 house and it's in the traditional building character overlay. So the house is protected. As part of the renovation works, the client wants to essentially pop out a window to the side of the upper level. Now this window is roughly halfway back on the house, but it's not beyond the highest and rearmost ridge. Now look at this house. The cladding on the outside is clearly post-1946. Why do I say that? It's just the vibes, man. It's giving me post-1946 vibes. Jokes aside, it has a more modern profile, it's not showing 100 years of wear and tear, and most importantly, it's continuous the entire way around the house, including around what we know to be a post-1946 front veranda enclosure. So you don't have the clear join marks between the old and the new cladding going on. So yeah, we know what's on the outside, the very most outer layer. That makes sense? Yeah, the outermost layer is post-1946. It can be removed under the exemptions, happy days. But what's about, blah, blah, blah. I need coffee this morning. Push on, I'm going to make this happen. But what about what's just on the other side? What about the bones or the framework? What's happening there? In that scenario, if you clearly know that you're not going to be removing any pre-1947 bones, happy days. Exclude the partial demolition component, go on your merry way. Flip side, if you know you are going to be removing some pre-1947 bones, you include the partial demolition component, suck it up, move on. But what if you don't know? What do you do in that scenario? Well, the first step is obviously to try and do some investigative work. So basically go in, and particularly if it's like a renovator's delight, the client's not going to give a damn about having a little look behind the walls, or if the client's in renovation mode already and they're ready to embrace the process and start doing some demolition work, get in there, pull off some wall sheeting, have a little sticky beak behind and see what you can find. Unfortunately, the job that I was talking about earlier this week, when I jumped on, had a look at the realestate.com photos, the area in question was a bathroom, and it was a kind of new bathroom. Like, it's obviously not brand new because they wouldn't be going down the renovation path or process if it was pristine and brand new, but it was kind of good condition. We had tiles along the walls from the floor to ceiling, but more importantly, we had some big cabinetry right in front of this wall where they were going to stick the window. So I was like, oh, okay, we can't quite just have a little sticky beak and see what we find behind. That's a major job. And the client's not ready to start the renovation process and lose their bathroom. Okay, what do we do here? Well, in this scenario, two different options. The first option is you just go crossing the fingers and toes and hoping like mad that there is no pre-1947 fabric in there. Exclude the partial demolition component, charge ahead, hope for the best. Problem is, if you do uncover some pre-1947 bones in the wall as you're going, you technically need to down tools, go back through the town planning process and essentially start again. So number one, you're looking at duplication of fees because you've got to pay someone like myself to do the second application. Number two, time delay. You're looking at a month, 2 months, whatever it is, depending on the scope of works. But more importantly, possibly, the question has to come up, what's the chance of success? Like, obviously, we lodge a bucket load of these applications each and every year, so we have a fairly good idea as to what council's going to say. But the cold, hard truth is you can't guarantee that there's going to be approval. What if some of the work you've already done needs to be redesigned and needs to be reworked as a result of not getting approval for that window? Oh, that's painful. Second option is you take the precautionary approach. You include the partial demolition component just to cover all bases, all alternatives. Downside to that is you've got to pay roughly $1,000, but I personally think in the scheme of things, given that most renovations these days are over $1 million, not such a bad price to pay. Now, I know everyone always says, it comes up time and time again when I'm out on site, everyone always says to me, so what if we were just to exclude the component and, you know, if we happened to find a couple little pieces of pre-47 timber, we were just to, you know, get rid of that stuff. Like, who's going to know? Look, I totally get where people are coming from. I know it's a natural thought that comes through people's minds, etc., etc. The thing you need to keep in mind is that neighbour involvement jobs these days is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, we've seen a massive, and I mean massive, step up in the interest in work that's happening next door on people's properties and people's ability to get involved, ask questions, do digging, complain, etc., etc. And the problem is, it's not just during construction that you need to worry about, it's down the track. I have heard of one situation recently where someone did some works like a couple of years ago, and then a couple of years later, the neighbour popped up and went, oh, so I've been doing a bit of digging Turns out your house, it's pre-1911. Turns out that stuff you removed at the rear, yeah, it was protected. You in trouble. I'm gonna dub you into council. So yeah, it's not just during the construction process you need to worry about, it's down the track. So yeah, I personally, if you can obviously take a sticky beak back there and you know that there's no pre-1947 fabric, great, exclude it. Don't pay the extra money unnecessarily. But if you can't confirm that, if you can't do the sticky beak work, or if you're not sure once you actually uncover it and look at the timbers in there, include the partial demolition component, cover your backside, both now and in the future. Like I said, in the scheme of things, not such a big price to pay. Okay, I think that covers off everything I want to talk about this week. As I always say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got three. Number one, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site specific. You would be a silly billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly billy. Number two, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number three, what was my number three? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all. Bye.